It was clearly the number 9 that threw the plane. The classmates all accused the number 0. The teacher even gave him a hammer directly without any reason. This is a society of strict hierarchy. Each person's status is determined from birth. The higher the number, the higher the status. The first class at the beginning of the school year. The teacher brought everyone to know the 3, 6, 9 levels of people. Some people are born as a leader. And some people are destined to be trampled at birth. 7, 8, 9 play together during extracurricular activities. 4, 5, 6 play together. Only the lowest number 0 sitting all alone. He was envious of the laughter around him. Then the number 8 suddenly called him to join the rope skipping. He rushed over happily. But as he played, the two sides of the small friends showed a strange smile. It turned out that all this was just a plot to tease him. He was tied with a rope and hung upside down from a tree. The sanitation workers passing by looked at the number 0 on his body. Also Noble chose to turn a blind eye. But he was still optimistic like a fool. He even thought that the number 0 might be a big number. So big that people don't recognize him. Later he reached the age of work. But he didn't even deserve a job because of his low status. Looking at his peers sitting on the roadside begging for money. But he was paranoid that there would always be a place for him in this society. But every time he didn't find a job, he would be beaten up by the shopkeeper. Then he would be thrown a small coin like a beggar. He would pick up the coin optimistically every time. He would give it to the number 0 who was begging around him. Unable to find a job, he had to live in a garbage dump every day. When he was hungry, he went through the garbage cans. Sleeping in the garbage when he was sleepy. But even so, he didn't feel that his life was too hard. Until one day he came across a group of big numbers bullying a small number. With a sense of justice, he wanted to make noise to scare away the big numbers. The result was a severe beating for himself. In a daze, he seemed to see an angel around him. The next day he woke up covered in bruises. He found a little girl sitting next to him who was also a 0. She was like a light that shone into his life. Soon they had a crush on each other. But in front of the passers-by, they had to pretend to be a pair of strangers who did not know each other. Because in this world, the lowly number 0 is not worthy of love. And they are not allowed to have love. But when love really comes, who can stop it? Although they have no money or status. But they have their own romance. They would go to the garbage can to find food together. They went on secret dates together in the flowers. They had the best time of their lives together. Sometimes they even forget their lowly status. Until this day. Law enforcement officers found them in a relationship. Forcibly separated the two of them. From that day on he was put in a dark prison. Although full of longing for his lover. But he could only look at them with longing. He painted the walls with his thoughts. But the prison was still the same. The thoughts were still the same. Until this day. A dried rose suddenly appeared beside him. He recognized it right away. It was the same one he had given her. He hurriedly climbed up and looked out the window. He saw the person he had been dreaming of. She opened her dress to tell him that she was pregnant. It was their child. But he couldn't be by her side. At that moment, the big numbers found the number 0 with the big belly. They started to point at her and badmouth her. In the midst of their accusations, the number 0 suddenly fell to the ground, listening to his wife's wailing. He was very anxious but could not do anything about it. The crowd around him was getting bigger and bigger. He blamed himself and lowered his head, not daring to take a look. Just then a baby's cry suddenly came. Their baby came into the world early. At that moment, the large numbers standing on the sidelines suddenly saluted the newborn in unison. It turned out that two numbers of zeros gave birth to an infinity. Listening to the baby's cries, the number 0 shed tears for the first time. Then the prison door was opened. From this moment on, their lives were completely changed.